Hello and welcome to our weekly oracle card reading for week commencing the 30th of April 2018. Thank you so much for joining me here this week. This week we're using the Angel Heart Sigil Oracle cards by Stuart Pearce to see what messages that our angelic guides are giving us and what information is coming through them from the divine. This is really how we can navigate our lives. It's not telling us necessarily what to do, but it can tell us how we can cope with some certain situations, give us the global energies that we're working with, the energies that are perhaps going to affect all of us in some way in our lives this week. But if you'd like to order your own personal reading to see what's going on in your life in particular, then I will leave that information in the description box down below this video. So we're just being patient and waiting for our 3 cards for this week. So there we have our 3 cards. So let's check out what comes up for us for the beginning of this week. The start of the week we have Archangel Sandalphon and the card is Assurance. What I'm getting from the start of this week with this card is it's about assurance in all its forms. So perhaps we may feel more self-assured this week, at the beginning of this week. Perhaps a new lease of life, a new confidence is bubbling away within us. And this could be really a majorly positive thing for all aspects of our lives, within our relationships, within our careers, within our friendships, and within every area of our lives. When we feel more self-assured within ourselves, we exude that sense of confidence. And then therefore people can have more confidence within us. Sometimes when we gain more confidence, if we have been in a pattern of low self-esteem, there is a tendency sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes for people in our lives to find that difficult. If we go from being somebody that has quite low self-esteem to somebody who gains that self-assurance, some people in our lives might not be able to handle that. And then we have to consider what is best for us on our path, what is best for them. Is the relationship still viable? Because if we are changing, then if the people around us change and help us grow and we help them grow, that's fantastic. But if there's an element of people perhaps holding us back, then that's something that we may need to consider changing within our lives. And that can very often be a difficult process and a somewhat painful process. On the other side of this card of assurance, it could be that we get reassurance from people that we love. We're reassured that we are valued within our work team. We're reassured that we are loved within a romantic relationship. We're reassured that we are a good friend. So really about people reassuring us at the start of the week, but having that sense of self-assurance as well, and a growing confidence that's going to continue to blossom. As we move into the middle of the week, we have Zadkiel and the card is Acceptance. This is a really cute image. We've got a little monkey here cuddling a dove. Acceptance. So again, this could mean self-acceptance. Like the start of the week we had assurance, and that could mean self-assurance. This is self-acceptance. So we're accepting ourselves for who we are. And we're accepting our quirks, we're accepting our sense of humour, accepting our blemishes or perceived flaws, accepting our beauty, accepting our strengths. When we fully embrace all of who we are, doors can fly open for us, but it's something that we often need to keep working on it and going back to it. It's not necessarily that we get to this point of self-acceptance and then that's it. It's a process that the majority of us will be working on for the entirety of our lives, but it's something that's going to come up for us in the middle of this week. We may have more acceptance for others as well. You know, if people have been getting on our nerves, or we've had very low tolerance or low patience towards others, perhaps something will happen in the middle of this week that shifts our perspective, that shifts our perception of what we believe to be true, so that we can be more tolerant towards other people's viewpoints, be more tolerant towards other people's needs, and that could really help us open our hearts even further. And as we move into the end of the week, we're working with Gabriel, and the card is Insight. Insight. I always break this word down into two parts, in and sight. And sight are seeing, and in being able to see within. When we get insight, it's almost like we are seeing the world differently, but it comes from this place within because something has shifted within us. Sometimes external outside influences can help us to shift internally, but that insight that we gain, that wisdom that we gain from those experiences does almost come from within. We have that inner sight, we have that intuition, and we have that intimacy with others. That's another word I like to break down, intimacy, into me see. And it's like we actually are able to see into situations, cut right through distraction. And insight, it's like we're getting a different viewpoint. We're seeing something differently. We're learning things differently. We're growing in new perspectives. We're changing. So I really feel like this is a week for great change within us in a personal way. We are going through that assurance period. We are going through that acceptance of ourselves, acceptance of other people, and then we gain great insights by the end of the week because of this process. So this could be a very fulfilling week for a lot of us. There may be a few tears that come up. There may be a lot of laughter as well, and reminiscing about the past as well almost. But I really feel that we can gain a lot from this week if we just follow our intuition and follow what our heart's really trying to tell us. So I hope that you've enjoyed the reading this week. Thank you very, very much for joining me here. I really, really do appreciate it. If you did feel inclined to like, share, or subscribe to this channel, I would be thrilled and over the moon with that, and it would mean a lot to me. Until we speak again next week for next week's reading, I'm sending you lots of love. Many blessings, Alyssa.